Amsterdam is rightfully on the list of the most interesting and attractive places of Europe. Let's take a closer look at the original, hospitable, and cozy capital of the Netherlands. Our virtual tour starts from the Rijksmuseum, located on the Museum Square, the most popular place in the city. Here, one can find lots of cultural landmarks that make Amsterdam globally famous. This National Art Museum owns the world's largest collection of paintings, created by Dutch artists of the Golden Age. The number of outstanding masterpieces makes the Rijksmuseum comparable to the celebrated Louvre. Unique exhibition, an affordable price, and an easy way to get here attract millions of tourists and art fans from all over the world. The place is perfect for visiting with family, friends, and lovers. In April 2016, a museum of modern and contemporary art called MOKO opened next to the Rijksmuseum. It was the enterprise of Lionel and Kim Logies, gallerists recognized throughout the country. In a few years, they turned MOKO into a well-known tourist attraction, with an exhibition of works by Picasso, Dali, Richter, and other eminent artists. The museum occupies a private townhouse in the heart of Amsterdam and completely fits into the architecture of the city. Nearby, you can see the only European museum that is completely dedicated to diamonds. At the Diamond Museum, you have a chance to immerse yourself in a fascinating tour through the full life cycle of these precious stones. From the process of their formation and mining to cutting and polishing. This place significantly expands the knowledge about diamonds, their color, size, and other interesting features. Exploring the cultural life of the Dutch capital, you will never miss the Van Gogh Museum, an attraction no less prominent and visited than the mills, canals, and flower market. There are about 200 paintings and 500 drawings of the master, as well as his documents and correspondence. If you are tired from the museums, you may switch to musical events held in the Concertgebouw, which literally translates into English as concert building, and is situated on the same museum square. The Concertgebouw, with its excellent acoustics, is considered one of the best concert halls in the world. Numerous canals pass through the city, giving it a special atmosphere. Built for practical reasons, they have become a masterpiece of engineering. The entire Amsterdam sits on huge foundation piles driven into the ground underwater. Being about 6.6 feet below the sea level, the city was short of solid land throughout the construction. For the proper development of the future capital, it was decided to dig canals, extract soil from them, and use it for filling up territories and reinforcing streets. The most common way to enjoy the canals is to take a boat ride. A good option if you come here for a few days. Canal cruises will give you the first impression of the city and a chance to see the main sights from the water. This large building is a former Heineken beer factory, which was closed in 1988 and no longer used as a brewery. Nowadays, it functions as an interactive Heineken experience museum. Amsterdam canal trips are one of the most wonderful pastimes in the capital. The tours are carried out on river trams, boats with an all-glass cabin, water taxis, and an amphibious bus. Cruises offer views of the famous merchant houses that make up the identity of the city. Although Amsterdam surpasses Venice in the number of waterways and bridges, they are often compared simply because of the elaborate canal system. For more than 100 years, their banks have been serving as a moorage for at least 2,500 houseboats. Therefore, if you want an unusual experience, choose life on the water. Another distinctive feature of the city is the bicycles that are widely spread here. Amsterdam is called the cycling capital of Europe. This two-wheeled vehicle is not only the main type of transport, but also a lifestyle. By various estimates, about 1 million of them are found in the city. There are wide bike paths, cycling traffic lights, and parking lots with hundreds of bicycles everywhere. All these conveniences, such as amenities, will allow you to safely use the rental if you have a desire to see the city from the inside. This unusual building with small towers resembling a castle is the Way House, or the Waag. The construction dates back to the 15th century and is the former gate of the city walls. The first level is occupied by a restaurant cafe in De Waag, favored by tourists. The restaurant serves an international and local cuisine. Multicolored facades and decorative elements emphasize the friendly air of Amsterdam. A sunny, blooming city meets the springtime. The canals stretching away into the distance, the bright marking of streets that are densely framed by various buildings, and cozy eateries lined along the embankments. All this together creates typical cityscapes of the Dutch capital. You may not know that Amsterdam is currently the world center of gemstone cutting. Thus, tourists have the opportunity to get acquainted with one of the oldest industries within the capital. Guests who want to learn about the history of the diamond business are always welcome at the Diamond Factory. Taking photos or filming in Amsterdam, you can hardly avoid getting a bicycle in the shot. 40% of residents own this type of transport and use it regularly. Cyclists are the key road users, and everything revolves around them. The vehicle can be bought, rented, and even stolen. It's a joke, but it happens sometimes. Bike riding is highly available, fast enough, and allows you to get anywhere in the city. All this contributes to its popularity. amazingly monumental building of the Royal Palace is located in the very center of the capital on Dam Square. It ranks among the greatest historical monuments of the city. On days free from official receptions, the palace is open for tourists. The city is full of life and visitors. Tulips and soulful street music give a unique flavor to the capital. Dam Square is always crowded, at any time of the day and all year round. Here you can meet numerous representatives of various ethnic groups living together in peace and harmony. According to various estimates, about 180 nationalities inhabit the city. The majority of them are Moroccans, Turks, Brits, Germans, and Surinamese.
City lights lay out before us, and your arm felt nice wrapped around my shoulder, and waiting for the day they feel. Happy birthday, happy.
The local environment is calm and quiet. The boats, slowly gliding back and forth, create an impression of a slow-paced life. The streets are neat and tidy, and the ecology is close to perfect. Staying in Amsterdam is like a fairy tale. You basically don't need a map. Just walk the lovely streets to your pleasure and let yourself get lost in their mazes. It will be interesting at every turn. You should not worry about communication problems if you don't know Dutch. Most of the residents speak English fluently. The night views of the capital are also delightful. When the paved streets become less crowded, you may take a walk and feel the romantic vibes coming from the huge illuminated windows. After dark, the city seems to be shrouded in magic. Beautiful lighting of buildings and bridges makes your stroll comfortable and joyful. And colorful reflections on the water surface change your mood to festive. The luxurious 5-star hotel called Barbizon Palace catches attention with its bright night illumination. It is located in the very heart of Old Amsterdam, right across the street from the Central Railway Station, and in a 5-minute walk from Dam Square. Tourist activity in Amsterdam does not decrease, even at night. You may see crowds of young people strolling through the city streets. On weekdays, many places in Amsterdam are open until 1 o'clock in the morning, and dance clubs are even longer. To collect more impressions, many tourists go to the Grasshopper, an atmospheric restaurant located on the edge of Chinatown. Along with the other renowned attractions of Amsterdam, it is worth visiting the grand department store, De Bijenkorf, which literally means beehive. Nowadays, it's a kind of a city within a city where you can find everything you want, from the boutiques of premium brands to restaurants. The picturesque views of the canals and the abundance of water draw our attention to the history of the city's origin. In 1204, local inhabitants decided to build a dam on the Amstel River near their fishing village to protect themselves from the constant floods. So the name of the city was born. Amstel is a name of the local river, and dam means a dam built for the foundation of the city. By the way, Amstel, translated from the ancient German, sounds like open spaces with an abundance of water, which absolutely corresponds with the city's landscape. The Amsterdam canals have stretched for 100 kilometers and represent a system which has been designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It unites about 90 islands, into which the city is divided. More than 1,500 bridges were built across the canals of the capital. It's important to note that they are closed for navigation because high waves from the large ships can wash away the shores and therefore damage old houses, which actually form the world-famous views of the city. Here, you can walk along the numerous embankments, enjoy water excursions, or sit down somewhere to admire the pier. The Spiegelgracht Canal is located right in the center of Amsterdam. You can find a lot of antique shops and art galleries on its shores. Their incredibly beautiful facades stand very close to each other. One of the busiest places in the capital is Leidseplein Square, famous for its city theater. The building was designed in the Neo-Renaissance style. The walls, topped with coal-black gabled roofs, are visible from afar. In this corner of Amsterdam, there are various clubs, theaters, cinemas, shops, and art cafes. The capital of the Netherlands has a wide range of public transport. There are always free seats in the trams and buses because many citizens prefer to travel by bicycle. For the same reason, there are no traffic jams in the city. Ferries and subways are quite popular because they can deliver passengers not only to any destination in the capital, but also to the suburbs. The city's trams are fast, mobile, and even able to overtake a car. This is the best choice if you need to travel around the center and the surrounding area. It is hard to imagine a visit to Amsterdam without a single river walk. Canal trips are offered at every step. Cruises help to feel the character and spirit of the city, not to mention the great views. Normally, such boat tours include the most fascinating places of the capital, and guides tell curious facts about its history and inhabitants. Being a well-planned network, canals and waterways of Amsterdam cross each other, diverge, and then meet again. The slow movement of the boats allows you to see everything properly and take shots. A lot of pleasant experience and vivid memories are guaranteed. Sailing under the bridges and along the picturesque streets, you can admire the incredible architecture of the houses. Many old streets of the historical center consist of the similar buildings. These are rather narrow, multi-story constructions, so tightly pressed together, they seem to be one strong unit. But each of them has its own original facade, because any owner wants to distinguish himself, show his wealth, occupation, or profession. The frontons of the roofs attract by their extraordinary shapes and multiple decorations. Super dense construction also prevents the damage of these architectural objects. Go to Amsterdam at any time of the year. It looks different depending on the weather and the season. Indulge yourself with pastry and coffee. Buy the tulip seeds or the traditional Dutch wooden shoes and taste the chief local dish, salted raw herring. But be careful with legal smoking blends and food items containing cannabis. It is recommended to stay closer to the center in order to fully immerse yourself in the particular ambiance of the city and not waste time moving around by public transport. Well-maintained districts of the capital do not pose a threat. Wherever you go, you will definitely find something curious and exciting. Amsterdam is thought to be one of the safest cities in Europe. The locals are friendly and calm people. Most of them speak 3 or more languages. The name of the Herengracht Canal translates as the Lord's Canal. On Herengracht, you will find a large amount of monumental houses and other landmarks that attract lots of people who want to enjoy the architecture, take a boat ride, or soak up the sun on the embankment. Almost every construction on this canal has its own rich history and fancy finishing elements made in the Baroque and Classicism style. You just can't help but stop and take photos of these charming buildings. Now, the majority are homes for bank offices, insurance companies, and cultural organizations, including the well-known Goethe Institute. Herengracht reveals the spirit of Amsterdam as it is. Life here is filled with peace, love, and prosperity. Amsterdam is a fabulous place of the world that you want to explore endlessly. One visit is enough to be fascinated by this cozy and convenient city. Its symbols are not only tulips and mills, but also excellent cheeses and beer. The capital boasts a Rembrandt museum, a maritime museum, and even a museum of microbes, as well as a 180-year-old zoo and the largest flea market in Europe. Amsterdam has a reputation for freedom. Many people who come here to try pleasures forbidden in other countries may miss the real charm of the city, hidden in the admirable old architecture, narrow streets, boats gliding smoothly along the canals, and plenty of gorgeous flowers. Walking around the Netherlands capital, you may notice one more attribute of the city that makes it special. The houses here are slightly tilted, and there are certain reasons for this. As mentioned earlier, all the structures were erected on piles, drilled meters deep into the soil, because the area of Amsterdam is very swampy. Currently, we use cement piles in construction, but in the old days, they had to deal with ordinary wooden poles. Over time, they got rotten and the buildings slanted to the sides. Living in a house that looks skewed may seem unsafe to a tourist, while the locals have long been used to it. The constructions in Amsterdam are tightly packed together, which allows them to hold each other in the upright position. However, there is one more reason of the crooked buildings. If one of the houses in the row shifts as a result of renovation, all constructions begin to tilt one after another. In an attempt to explain the forward lean of some facades, a curious version was born. When the building slants toward the street, you can better see its fancy gable, used by the owners to attract attention. The decorations were placed in the upper part of the facade because the lower stories could be flooded by water. The magnificent architecture has become the hallmark of the Netherlands, to say nothing of Amsterdam itself. Its uniqueness lies in the perfect combination of medieval houses and modern buildings made of glass and concrete, an abundance of eye-catching details, installations, and art objects. In a word, it has managed to preserve the original appearance from the moment of creation to the present day, which is not the case for the natural landscape of the city, completely displaced by urbanization. There is a great amount of amazing little things that create a peerless, enchanting ambience, which is often described by those lucky people who've been to this oasis of freedom. Amsterdam is a wonderful and extraordinary city that is definitely worth a visit.